U.S. diplomats are leaving Venezuela as the power slowly comes back on. Now, President Nicolas Maduro is reaching out to his allies for help to repair the country's power grid. RT's Dan Cohen is here in studio with me. You've been following the story, literally going to the border of Venezuela. You're back, so you've seen this firsthand. What is the latest on the diplomatic situation between the United States and Venezuela?
Well, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has ordered all U.S. diplomats out of the country within a 72-hour period. The State Department is saying that all of the diplomats will be out by the end of the week, so we're going to have to see how that goes. But as you said, Venezuela is looking to its allies. So the Chinese Foreign Ministry released a statement saying China hopes Venezuela can discover the reason for the blackouts as soon as possible and resume normal power supply, and that China will provide help and technical support to restore the power grid.
Well, as we discussed yesterday, blackouts are nothing new in Venezuela, unfortunately, but this obviously is on a larger scale. Do we have any more facts regarding what actually caused these blackouts or who's behind them? It seems like we're just in a blame game right now.
Well, Maduro has said that he's certain that the United States ordered it, that it was a direct attack, that it was even carried out from Houston and Chicago at the orders of the Pentagon Southern Command in Miami, Florida. He's ordered a special investigation and asked the United Nations, as well as Venezuela's allies in China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba, to take part in the investigation. And Venezuela's Attorney General is investigating Juan Guaido for allegedly sabotaging the power grid. Now, the U.S. has, of course, denied any involvement, but the New York Times has reported that U.S. sanctions are at least partially responsible for the outages. Now, their report says, quote, "The sanctions have affected Venezuela's ability to import and produce the fuel required by the thermal power plants that could have backed up the Guri plant once it failed." Now,
that seems to be the only factual reporting that I've seen from either side coming out that actually has something to back it up besides just politicians lobbing rockets at each other with this.
Exactly. So nothing is proven, but we do know, according to the New York Times, at least the U.S. sanctions are at least partially responsible. But one of the most fascinating aspects of what I've found in my research is from a document that WikiLeaks released. And this is an email from 2010 sent by this group Canvas, which is a Serbian anti-communist kind of regime change training group that has taken substantial amounts of money from the U.S. government and actually trained many members of Juan Guaido's Popular Will Party. And this document, as I said, is from 2010 when Chavez was in power, and it lays out how a collapse in Venezuela's electrical system could be used to overthrow the government. Basically, this group Canvas in this email said a collapse of the electrical system would be a watershed event that would galvanize public unrest, and an opposition group could take advantage of the situation to spin it against Chavez and towards its own needs. So it's a very revealing document.
Very revealing document, but your lights going out in your community is definitely scary. I couldn't imagine an entire country having to suffer for it, so obviously people want questions. Now, you have to look at Secretary of State Mike Pompeo actually said in a quote that he is calling out the networks in particular for their coverage of Venezuela. Here's what he had to say.
Russia has also used its state-sponsored disinformation organs like Russia Today and Sputnik to divert attention from the humanitarian disaster of the Maduro regime.
Well, I mean, once again, thank you, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, for just throwing things that doesn't have it up against the wall. What do you think about it? What is your response to this?
Well, our reporting has been all the way from the beginning that with the humanity that we don't know who is behind, or actually the opposition. I'm sorry, the opposition appeared to be behind the burned humanitarian aid. And actually Mike Pompeo, and we've been vindicated, and Mike Pompeo, along with John Bolton, Marco Rubio, have all said that the Venezuelan government was behind it. So they were carrying out their own disinformation campaign themselves. And, you know, Pompeo didn't give any evidence about RT's disinformation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will not be holding my breath for an apology anytime soon from the State Department. Thank you, Dan.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.